Hey everyone, welcome back to the Fantasy Pros Football Podcast. I'm Bobby Sylvester with Mike Tagliere as always, and you can follow us on Twitter at BobbyFantasyPro and at Mike Tagliere NFL. Tags, have any plans for the weekend, man? How's it going?
Oh, it's going good. I do have plans for the weekend. My wife, her parents they hit their 25-year wedding anniversary, so they're renewing their vows. We're doing the whole stand-up thing, and then I found out we're going to Caddyshack restaurant afterwards. I didn't know.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't even know there was such a thing, but apparently Bill Murray owns it. It's out just on the outskirts of Chicago, and so hopefully I get to meet Bill Murray this weekend.
Yeah, I bet Bill Murray's hoping he'll run into you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, why would you not want to meet a fantasy football analyst? I mean, seriously, come on.
I guarantee he plays fantasy football. Bill Murray has to.
I would hope he does. But I mean, if I did meet him, I would have a joke for him, Bobby. And I actually wanted to tell you at the beginning of the show today that my brother told me a joke yesterday, and I was dying. It was a dad joke. So don't get.
I like dad jokes.
Well, don't get your hopes up too much. Is all I'm saying. It's just it's a very corny one, but one that I laughed way too hard at. All right. So why did the Scarecrow win an award?
Oh man, I feel like I should know this. I have no idea though.
Because he was outstanding in his field.
That is so ridiculous, man. You know, when you said you were going to tell me a joke before the show, I was like, dude, I don't like jokes. This is going to be bad. I'm going to be silent and make you feel like an idiot, and I'm going to feel really bad about it the whole episode. I'm going to let you win this mock draft that we're going to do. But that was pretty funny. I liked it. I like dad jokes.
Well, you know what's funny about that is that I told my brother when he actually told me the joke, I'm like, I'm going to mention this on my podcast. I was like, Bobby's probably going to call me a dork, which...
You are a dork. But, man, that's why everyone loves you and me. I mean, I don't know if they love me, but I'm a dork, too. We're the dork show.
Well, if you guys are listening, seriously, dork was a word that I had not heard in probably 10 plus years until Bobby said it to me one day, and it's been reintroduced into my vocabulary, so thank you for that.
Yeah. Well, I don't really have too much going on this weekend. I've been going to like a homeschooling convention, so I went to see Matt Walsh speak last night, which was like Christmas for me. I was so pumped. Tonight we're going to Slugs and Bugs concert, which, I mean, my boys are pumped about it. They'll have fun, but I'm prepared to have these songs stuck in my head for the rest of eternity, so that's what I'm looking forward to this evening. I'm ready to do this mock draft, though, because... You know, I just need a boost to my pride, and every time I go against you in these things, it's just cake, man.
It's cake. Get out of here. No, get out of here. So, no.
Did you win the last one? I don't know.
No, you won the last one.
Okay, so winning streak, like, still 142?
So
143?
So, hold on. Should we go back? I think we need to go back, because, so the leagues that actually, like, really mean something, right? So, those are the ones that we actually play out over all, like, 16 weeks, right? Like, I can't remember. Bobby, can you remind me? Like, who won the Fantasy Pros League last year?
Well, I mean, it depends on hold on. It depends on what you mean by won. If you mean had the best team, scored the most points, won the most games, that would be me. If it means got really lucky and had Todd Gurley score 5 touchdowns against me in the playoffs, yeah, sure, that would be you.
Yeah, well, I have the belt.
So which do you mean?
I have our championship belt right here next to me in my office. It's sitting right here on my thing, and it's got this nice case, and it says,
for now,
it's got my name on it from last year. So, I mean, all I'm saying is that I won when it mattered.
Okay. There was no money on the line. If there would have been, I would have tried really hard. I would have drafted Todd Gurley.
So wait, so you're saying that I'm the Tom Brady of our fantasy league, and you're the Aaron Rodgers?
I'm okay with that.
I'll take the championships. Let's go.
Yeah, I would take the championships too, man. All right, so here's what we have planned for today's show, Tags. We're going to do a live mock draft. And when I say live mock draft, I don't mean like normal Draft Wizard mock draft where we're doing 2 separate drafts. I mean, we are drafting in a live mock draft on Draft Wizard against one another because our developers came up with this concept where you can draft against your friends. And it hasn't been released yet. We're going to give you a little sneak preview here. And we're actually recording this on YouTube too. And so Tags picked his spot. I picked number 10. I think Tags is drafting number 7. And so you will get to see us draft against one another in the same mock draft.
So the reason I went with number 7 is because I wanted to get outside the elite tier. I didn't want to take those. I wanted to give Bobby a chance, essentially, is what it comes down to. Because now that we're in the same draft, you know, you guys are used to hearing us sometimes take the same player in a certain round. And no matter, like, sometimes the players fall that way.
Sony Michel, 4th round lock.
Exactly. That would just happen. Now in this draft, if Bobby wants him, he's going to have to reach for him. So that's the thing. It's just like, so now we're in a draft where we're together. It's going to be a good time, man. And by the way, and if for whatever reason, you know, when the feature does come out on the site, if you only have like 3 guys you want to jump in there with, and then like, well, what do we do about the rest? it would automatically work like Draft Wizard does, where it would automatically insert someone in there to draft the teams for it, and it would go like quickly through it. And if you're logged in on YouTube, you'll be able to see that basically in our draft, because we have the drafts on our screen, and you're able to see like our drafts as they're going on, our cheat sheets, everything that we're doing, as well as Bobby's beautiful hunky face. I mean, that's what you named your team, right? The Hunks.
I did, yes. You're looking at the draft room right now, and you can name your team in these Draft Wizard live mock drafts. Tag's team is named Tag's team. Boo. I named my team the Hunks because, number one, it sucks to lose. But number two, it sucks to lose to someone who's way better looking than you. And if your team is called the Hunks, you're losing to an entire team of football players who are better looking than your team.
I'm not going to lose to the Hunks. Wait, wasn't the name of your team the Hunks in our Fantasy Pros League?
My team is always called the Hunks.
Okay,
man.
so my team is actually in that league. It's called Lights Out. So if you're looking for a cool team name, mine is straight to the point. It's like Lights Out. You're done.
His team name is actually the Dingleberries.
That is so disgusting. Okay. Oh man, we're off the rails.
All right, man. So do you want to share the parameters to our draft that we're going to be doing here?
I would. So basically what we're doing is we're doing a PPR draft. We are doing this 12-team fashion because, well, we're not going to do 10, and 8 teams just embarrassing. If you play in a 10-team league, though, this is just a piece of advice. Start more positions. Instead of 2 running backs, go to 3. Instead of 3 wide receivers, go to 4.
Yeah.
Start a couple flex spots. In this league today, we're doing a 1 quarterback league, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, 2 flex spots. Bobby, for whatever reason, left a defense and a kicker in there, so we're going to have to draft them. Yeah, you left them in the settings.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Bobby's fired from hosting the draft slot because that means we're putting them at the very end of our draft. Neither of us are.
I'm not drafting one.
Well, we have to because otherwise it's going to affect your score, and we don't want that.
Yeah,
we don't want an excuse on your end. So
I mean, I've got plenty of excuses built up anyway, so I wouldn't need to pull that one out because I know I'm going to lose eventually. Like maybe in 10 years you'll finally beat me.
Oh, in 10 years, get out of here! All right, I'm going to be all right. So Bobby, I'm going to be on the clock first, obviously, and I'm going to be.
Hold on, just a second though. Hold on, just a second.
All right.
I've been telling everyone about Leesa Mattresses, and I've got a little story about it. Okay, so every night, obviously, I sleep in a Leesa mattress. The other night, though, I accidentally fell asleep at 7:30, putting my toddler to sleep. So I got like 12 hours of sleep because I don't know why. My wife just didn't wake me up. But I wasn't in my Leesa mattress. So even though I got 12 hours of sleep, my body wasn't happy with me. I'm telling you, this mattress is absolutely incredible. You guys are going to love it. A quality night's sleep helps you recover from distractions faster, prevent burnouts, make better decisions, improve your memory, and overall make fewer mistakes. It's not marketing, it's science. To design a better mattress, Leesa leveraged 30-plus years of experience and hundreds of hours of testing to develop the perfect mattress for all body shapes and sleeping styles. Leesa's mission is to provide a better night's sleep for everybody. Through their 110 program, they donate 1 mattress for every 10 they sell. That's 26,000 mattresses and counting. Leesa strives to make the world better than they found it, and that doesn't stop with mattress donations. Together with the Arbor Day Foundation, Leesa plants 1 tree for every mattress they sell, and they're committed to planting 1 million trees by 2025. Don't miss these summer savings. Get $160 off at a Leesa mattress at leesa.com/fantasypros. That's LEESA.com/fantasypros. All right, Tags, go ahead and make your pick.
All right, so you're going to be mad right from the get-go because I'm going to get my number 5 player at number 7. The funny, I've been having this decision to make every single draft, and for whatever reason, I've been landing the number 5 pick in like a ton of drafts, whether it be mocks, whether it be best ball, whatever, and I'm always forced to pick between Antonio Brown and Saquon Barkley. Fortunately, I don't have that decision to make here. Saquon Barkley fell to me, and I've mentioned on the podcast before that I would draft him over David Johnson most of the time. I have been trying to get a little exposure to David Johnson as well.
It's close.
Recently. It is really close. And I can make the argument for either or. I just think Barkley's on the better offense this year with all the weapons they do have there. He was the number 2 pick. They're going to use him. I'm going Barkley here. So at number 7, taking Saquon Barkley, I'm pretty happy with that.
I love how you set this up. Like you're like, oh, I'm going to take number 7 because none of the good guys are going to drop, and so I'll be forced to make a difficult decision. Meanwhile, knowing, because Tags has surely done hundreds of mock drafts on Draft Wizard just like me, knowing that Saquon Barkley was going to be there at number 7, he could scoop him up and then laugh at me as I'm sitting there with nobody on the board at 10.
I could have had Kamara there too. Kamara was available. And he would have been like, so I actually figured I would be choosing between Alvin Kamara and someone like Melvin Gordon or
who would you have taken?
Kamara. I would have taken Kamara there.
Kamara? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would have liked your team a lot less if you took Kamara instead of Saquon
Oh, believe
Barkley.
me, I know that. No, what's funny, Bobby,
Yeah.
is that we've been doing the mock drafts where it's like we make our pick and then all of a sudden, the next screen pops up and we know exactly who's going to be on the board for our next pick. Like you'd be making your pick and I'd be looking at my screen being like, oh my God, I thought Julio Jones fell to me in the second round. But of course, it's you on the board here at number 10, and you're gonna have 2 picks. You're gonna have 2 picks by the time that I make my next pick. So I'm guessing
He is not going to last because that is definitely who I'm taking at number 10. I would have taken him at number 7. Well, not if Barkley was there, but if Barkley wasn't there, Julio Jones would have been my pick. Odell Beckham right behind him. So we'll see who drops to me with my next pick. I just want to point something out. We're doing a 10-minute timer on these new live drafts that the developers set up. You can do a 1-minute timer, a 90-second timer, an 8-hour timer, all kinds of different things so that you can do these mock drafts however you want to do. Dynasty leagues, rookies only, 4 quarterbacks. Yep. IDP, whatever you want to do, the developers set it up so that you can do it. And there's all kinds of cool tools in here that we'll show you too. And Tags actually told me today that you can look at how your grade comes out according to your cheat sheet.
Yep. So basically, when you go in and you create a cheat sheet in the Draft Wizard, which you can do right now, obviously, when you do your mock drafts, which is what I always do. I always upload my rankings. If you guys wanted to, let's say that you wanted mine and Bobby's rankings and you wanted to put them in there together, you could do that and it would spit out rankings that combine both of ours. And then when it gets to the end, it gives you a grade. You might not like that grade sometimes. You might be like, well, I kind of went off your cheat sheet, so why is it different? It's because the experts, the consensus that we have grades the draft as a whole. But there is an option that we'll show you when we get to the end of the draft where you say graded based on off the poll of experts, or you go down to your cheat sheet, which is where you would have the rankings that you were drafting off of. And you can see if your draft worked out well according to your rankings.
I can't believe I put in DST and kicker, man.
Yeah.
That's really unfortunate.
It's definitely unfortunate because I don't even know if I have them in my cheat sheet. Oh, I do actually, because I imported what I had, my rankings I updated in Fantasy Pros like the other day. I just downloaded the overall and I just imported them in here.
Yeah. So I took Julio Jones at number 10. Kareem Hunt was on the board, Melvin Gordon, Leonard Fournette. I thought about Fournette here. I mean, my rankings are set in stone, so I didn't really think about anything, but it was close. It's close between Jones, Beckham, Fournette. Beckham's already gone, though. He went at number 6 ahead of Barkley, which really surprised me. Keenan Allen's gone. I would have definitely taken him, even though it would have meant 2 wide receivers. But now it's between Michael Thomas, Dalvin Cook, A.J. Green, Devontae Adams, and they're all fairly close for me. But I'd like to get the running back here. Dalvin Cook, I think, is substantially better than any running back left on the board. He had so many touches before he went down with his injury, and I know Latavius Murray was hurt, but they trust this guy, and he's supposedly healthy, so I'm going to take my chances, hopefully get 300-plus touches out of Dalvin Cook, and we'll see what happens here in round 3.
Yeah, I'm really not excited that Dalvin Cook is gone because that means that Michael Thomas is probably going to go right after you, and he did. Yep. Michael Thomas and A.J. Green came off the board immediately after you made your pick, so I'm not really happy about this. Because LaShawn McCoy, who's on my board as the next best player, according to VBD, as we know, LaShawn McCoy, there's some things going on with him right now that we don't know if he's going to be suspended. He could be put on the exempt list. There's a lot of question marks. So if I'm drafting right now, what I'm doing is on the Draft Wizard, I go to this little X mark, and I'm going to say dismiss him for 2 rounds because I know that I'm not going to touch him in the first couple rounds, and I don't want him popping up on my recommended sheet.
I've never actually used that button.
Yeah, I've used it.
There's so many things in this, man. I learn something every time I use it.
There's a lot of different tools. Like when you go to the view, like I always pull up the top player from each position because I basically just want to know who's the top player in my rankings available here. What is their VBD score? And it kind of goes by that. So McCoy was the next one there, but naturally I would not want to draft him, obviously that high. So we get to the point where I'm looking at my draft cheat sheet here. So Christian McCaffrey is the one who came after him. I feel like the middle of the second round, or it's even on the beginning side of the second round, actually, taking Christian McCaffrey just feels like it's just too much. We've been hearing a lot about C.J. Anderson and how he's going to get a lot more carries than people think, and, I'm on board with that. So I'm going to go with my number 8 wide receiver in PPR, and that is Devontae Adams.
Good call.
I'm not...
Smart man.
I don't know if I'm excited about this pick, though, because Devontae Adams, while I do like him, I like him an awful lot, especially in standard formats. In PPR, he's worth a little bit less because in PPR, he's not one who's going to catch a whole ton of passes. Like, he's not the sticks mover. He's going to probably move into more of that Jordy Nelson role. He's going to be used to stretch the field a little bit, but he will be the red zone guy. I just feel like he's a high floor wide receiver one where it's like the only other one I would have considered there was Mike Evans. And, there's some severe competition for targets, the quarterback downgrade to Ryan Fitzpatrick over the first few weeks. There's just a lot of things that go into that. But
Do not take my guy.
But Devontae Adams is
Big Predictor says 23% chance, but that does not factor in that Tags is sitting here looking at knowing my draft list and probably going to snipe me.
I don't know if I'm going to snipe you here. This is like the part in the draft where it's like you're in the third round. You have to kind of reach for some of your players. Like, well, I love Sony Michel, but in the middle of the third, I'm drafting him essentially where I think that he could wind up. And I'm losing all my equity at that point by drafting him there. I have an RB1. I have a wide receiver 1. Next on my list, I have guys like Demaryius Thomas, Amari Cooper, T.Y. Hilton. I just don't love drafting those guys right here in the middle of the third, and I don't know how to feel about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
This is so tough. According to value-based drafting, it says that Aaron Rodgers is the best player to draft here, but I'm not taking him in the middle of the third. Oh, man. Bobby's probably going to be mad at me.
Don't do it. Yeah. Don't do it, dude.
I think I can probably get Demaryius, my top receiver, in the next round if I wanted him there. So I'm going to go ahead and snipe Bobby here just because of the value. I just don't like anything else. So I'm going to take an elite player at his position, and I'm going to take Zach Ertz.
You big dog turd. I am going to body slam you.
So
I don't even want to do the rest of this episode. I'm just going to complain the entire time, I think.
So, Bobby, what's funny about this? What's funny is that our listeners on Twitter have been coming at me like some of the best episodes is listening to Bobby during a mock draft episode. Just like gets so mad when I take a player or someone, like when we did our draft best ball one. They're like, Bobby's hidden anger just came out. Like you heard it in his voice.
Well, now they can see me on YouTube and I'm smiling as I say it, so they know that it's not anger. It's just I'm just having fun.
Yeah, for sure.
And I know I'm going to win anyway, so there's really no pressure here. Although Zach Ertz being gone, really that kind of sucks. So let's see what I can do here. Running backs, Kenyon Drake, Alex Collins, Darius Guice. I feel like I'm kind of reaching for those guys. They're going to make it back to me in 5 picks anyway. So if I still want one, I can go get him. T.Y. Hilton's still out there. Demaryius Thomas, Golden Tate, they're all going to be gone here soon. So, man, this is a tough decision. I'm obviously not going tight end. If Aaron Rodgers is there the next round, sorry, Tags, I'm taking him.
Yeah, I figured that.
In the fourth round, I'm fine with that. Third is a little bit of a reach for me. So I'm going to go ahead and go with one of these wide receivers here. And I'm going to go T.Y. Hilton. It's really close between T.Y. Hilton and Demaryius Thomas. It just kind of feels, it depends on how I feel about Andrew Luck in the given day.
Yeah.
And, right now I'm going to go with Andrew Luck starts throwing, real footballs. Like big.
Actually, news came out today that Andrew Luck is a 100% go, that there are no limitations on what they're going to have him do in camp. So, basically what that tells me is that my worst nightmare is not coming true. I've talked about it throughout the offseason is that, we barely see Andrew Luck throwing in the preseason. And according to everything they're saying, he's going to be a full go. So we should see plenty of Andrew Luck in the preseason.
Good deal, man. I can't wait for it. I'm really disappointed Aaron Rodgers is taken, but I'm even happier than I am disappointed because Allen Robinson was taken, and I know Tags is going to cry on camera now.
Allen Robinson being gone is let's just say it's less than ideal. That's how I would describe Allen Robinson being gone, because he's been such a value of mine. Like, I've been getting him late 4th round, early 5th round before this news. Because, people talking about ACL, there was a tweet, I can't remember, it was one of the big wigs on Twitter, tweeted out yesterday something about that the Bears contract to Allen Robinson was one of the biggest eye-openers in free agency. And I said, what? Like, I didn't get into an argument because that's not what I do. That's not who I am. But his contract seemed like it was very light. And he basically said because Allen Robinson was coming off a torn ACL. A torn ACL is like me having a knee sprain today. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like these athletes and the treatment that they receive. We've seen so many players bounce back from ACL injuries.
When's the last time someone didn't?
Exactly.
Someone who was under 30 years old.
Exactly. Because people are going to throw Jamal Charles out there, but he came back from his first ACL just fine. Adrian Peterson came back just fine. And they put more torque on their knees than wide receivers do. So I'm not worried about the ACL. So to know that he's ready for the start of training camp, he very well belongs in the conversation with the wide receivers that are going in this range.
Yeah, we were just talking a couple episodes ago, Tags, maybe last episode, about Allen Robinson's ADP is going to fall. By the way, when we say ADP, I want to clarify here. Our ADP on Fantasy Pros is not like the Draft Wizard ADP. It's a consensus ADP from all the sites out there, right?
Yeah, we use it we grab it from ESPN, from Yahoo, from NFL.com, Fantasy Football Calculator, all these sites, so that you guys get the grasp of everybody. It's not just one site, because as Bobby's mentioned on the show before, if someone's drafting on Yahoo, the consensus ranking of their analysts at Yahoo are going to heavily influence the ADP. So we don't want that to happen. So what we'd rather do is combine them all and put them one into one aggregate ADP to give you a full scope.
Yeah. Otherwise, ADP for Geronimo Allison would be like 100.
Yeah, probably
not quite that high. I'm exaggerating. But let me ask you about Allen Robinson, okay? Because we were saying his ADP was going to drop because he was going to be out at camp. Everyone was going to start asking questions. Now that he's back, just how high are you going to take him? Because I know you want him. You're going to have to take him fairly high now.
Yeah, no, that's the thing is, like, I think that I would put him in the range of like I think he belongs in the conversation. If you're talking about PPR, I think a little bit lower. I think that he should be in the conversation with like Stephon Diggs. I'd put him there. I'd put him Amari Cooper. I think that's the conversation that Allen Robinson belongs in, which is just outside the wide receiver 1 conversation. The reason I like Robinson is I do believe he has wide receiver 1 upside. I don't think that you necessarily you don't want to draft him at his ceiling, obviously, and if you can get him in the 4th round, that's fine. Because he'd be your wide receiver 2 most of the time, and you have wide receiver 1 upside. And that's my biggest gripe with drafters, is talking about players, you know, like a Tyreek Hill, where, yes, can he finish as a wide receiver 1? Yeah. But considering you're talking about maxing him out at 115, 120 targets, he's never going to finish as a top 5 receiver in a PPR format. So you're drafting him at his ceiling. Don't do that. Like, outside the 1st round, you should not be drafting players at their ceiling. That's kind of where I live. Like, if I'm drafting someone in the 2nd round, they should have a 1st round ceiling. Like, they should have a chance to finish as a top 5 overall player. That's kind of where I'm at. You want to be safe.
I think Robinson can do that. I mean, he's done it before, right? He was number 4 2 years back, and 3 years back. I'm sorry, 2 years back he was number 28, and that's what makes me a little nervous. That, and yeah, he's going to come back from the ACL, but is it going to happen immediately where he's 100% good, ready to go? I'm not quite sure enough to draft him up where Stephon Diggs is. The most amazing thing to me is that you're drafting Amari Cooper in the same range as Diggs. That's crazy, man.
I don't know why it's crazy. I mean, can we say that? Hold on a second. Can we say that Stephon Diggs? I love Stephon Diggs, the player. I absolutely do. And I think that he's like Antonio Brown light. I'm not saying he's Antonio Brown.
That's a good way to put it.
Antonio Brown light, where it's like Antonio Brown's going to get 170, 180 targets. Stephon Diggs, he might be around 110, 120. So you're never going to get that ceiling. Whereas Allen Robinson, I feel like his floor is right around 115 targets. So, yeah, I mean, considering the offense, and that's the thing that people are completely like looking past in Minnesota, and I have no idea why. Kirk Cousins, is he an upgrade over Case Keenum? Yeah, he absolutely is. They have a new offense, guys. Like, it's going to be a different offense, and it's not to say that Stephon Diggs might not have a higher ceiling in this offense, but that would mean Adam Thielen goes away. And there's a lot of people out there who are disagreeing with me that I have Thielen down as my wide receiver like 20, and people are telling me that I'm way too low on him. So therefore, if I'm too low on Thielen, you better lower Stephon Diggs down your draft board, because both of them are not going to finish as top 12 wide receivers this year.
I've got Diggs as 11. I've got Thielen as number 20, and that's kind of the reverse of ECR. Yeah. Thielen's going a lot earlier. Now, Aaron Rodgers was taken. I already mentioned that. So I'm looking here. Demaryius Thomas is still there. Yeah. And I should have taken Demaryius Thomas instead of T.Y. Hilton and then gone Golden Tate here, since it's full PPR. I mean, that's like 180 receptions there between the two, plus Julio Jones. That would have been fire. That's okay, though. I like T.Y. Hilton this year, but I'm definitely going with Demaryius Thomas. Now, I could go Darius Geis, but Demaryius Thomas in full PPR, yeah, double flex too. I got to pull the trigger.
Yeah, Demaryius was there for me last round, and I need to remember that I'm drafting alongside of you. So if I talk out loud, there's a chance that legitimately you take my player. You have 2 picks before my next one, so I can't talk out loud. So I said Demaryius Thomas that I considered him last round. Obviously, he's gone now because Bobby decided to do that. Demaryius Thomas, I think that he's like a player that my projections have him higher than where I need to draft him, and that's fine, because again, you want some of that equity built in there. You don't want to draft a player at his ceiling. And Demaryius, he's just consistently a top 24 receiver. Like, he's just a guy that his floor is essentially a top 24 receiver, but his ceiling, I don't think that he has top 5 potential anymore. So he's going to like live.
I don't know. Does he have top 10 potential? I don't think so.
Top 10 is rough because he's not scoring touchdowns. Ever since Peyton Manning left, Demaryius Thomas hasn't been a red zone threat for them. So you're probably right. He's probably in that
Full
neighborhood.
PPR probably. I think he does because he's going to catch 80, 90 balls.
Well, and that's the thing is like, so what's the difference? So answer this. Let's have this conversation. What's the difference between a Demaryius Thomas and Amari Cooper?
Well, Amari Cooper had some struggles last year. He wasn't as consistent. He hasn't done it for 4 straight years. Now, Cooper's got a ton more upside. That's the difference.
Yeah, but that's the thing is the targets, I think Amari could top him in targets. Like, I think that's a legitimate possibility considering, Denver, definitely, they've been drafting wide receivers out there. They drafted 2 this year in the top 4 rounds. Cortland Sutton, obviously, is a big name there. I don't know how they're going to handle that, if they're going to slide Emmanuel Sanders into the slot a little bit more to get Sutton on the field. I don't know if they're going to start... they've been talking about starting the kid from Penn State. Why am I forgetting his name?
Right. Deshaun Hamilton.
Yeah, Deshaun Hamilton. They've been talking about getting Deshaun Hamilton in the slot. Carlos Henderson is someone that was supposed to be in the slot. There's so many questions about that wide
those
receiver
guys,
core.
man. It's Demaryius Thomas every year.
That's the thing is just like the offense is changing, right? And you had Emmanuel Sanders hurt last year. Amari Cooper just lost Michael Crabtree. I mean, I know they inherited Jordy Nelson and Martavis Bryant, but those guys aren't target hogs. They're not target hogs. So I think Amari, I honestly think that he belongs in the 140 target conversation, and that's usually wide receiver 1 territory.
High.
Yeah.
But yeah, he could do that. Would it surprise you at all if Amari Cooper is the top 3 wide receiver this year?
Not at all. I think the talent's there. But
it would be a little bit surprising, but like it's definitely realistic.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing. Is it would be a little bit of a shock, but can I see it because of his talent? Absolutely. I don't think Derek Carr is as good as people think, and that's the thing. Is like Amari has had his hiccups too. I'm not gonna say he hasn't because he hasn't lived up to his what I expect of him. But I think it's realistic to say that he finishes a wide receiver 1.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. By the way, who's better? Derek Carr or Ryan Tannehill? I really can't decide.
I'll take Carr. I think that Tannehill's arm limitations like really hold you back. He's a little bit more mobile, but at the same time, give me the arm strength because I don't think Tannehill excels in anything. Whereas at least Derek Carr's got he's got a strong arm.
Well, he's had 4,000 yards multiple times. Derek Carr's never done that.
Yeah, I know. Derek Carr. The thing is people like when they talk about how good he was a year and then 2 years ago. If you go look at his game logs, like he has never been that quarterback that people think he is. Like he had a few really big games. But outside of those, it's like he's been very mediocre.
Trevor Simeon's had a few big games too.
Yeah, he has.
All right, man. Who are you taking here in the 4th and 5th rounds?
Dude, I don't even need to take time with this one. Sony Michel is on my team. Like I was really worried you were going to take him, and I'm not going to risk the fact that he makes it back to me. I thought about it,
but Demaryius Thomas full PPR, man.
Yeah, but the thing is, running back is going to thin out really quick. And so like this is a PPR. Wide receivers do mean a lot, and that's why I debated Demaryius Thomas last round because like Demaryius is that guy that's going to catch a whole ton of passes. But that's the thing is,
oh, bummer, man. Brandon Cooks went off the board.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you really want Brandon Cooks and T.Y. Hilton in a PPR?
Yeah, I do. Give them to me, man.
I'm really not happy about my draft selection right now. So now obviously I have Saquon and Sony as my running backs, and if you guys have listened, you guys know I'm more than okay with this. The problem I don't like. This is why I never draft a tight end early because I have Zach Ertz, I have Devontae Adams. That's all fine and dandy. But now I'm looking bad at wide receiver. Like my wide receiver core after Devontae Adams, we're down. Like my next picks here on my PPR chart are Jamison Crowder and Corey Davis. So the thing is, it's a PPR format. That's why Crowder's as high as he is. I have him as my number 26 wide receiver in PPR, but he's not a high ceiling guy. The question is, do I take a safe player here? Do I take the upside in Corey Davis? I'm not going to go with running back because Deion Lewis, it scares me a little bit now that they're talking about Derrick Henry's the starter. Yeah. It's just more questions than you need. So, man, Delaney Walker's still there, and he would have been someone to talk about.
Greg Olson's still there. You like Delaney Walker more than Greg Olson?
I do. I think he's safer. Ooh. I think he's safer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree.
Man, what am I going to do here? Let me take a look at this real quick. So I'm going to pull up the pick predictor, even though I'm talking out loud again, and Bobby's got 2 picks after me, so this is stupid. But Jamison Crowder, it says there's a 41% chance that he's drafted by my next pick. So it's better than half. Meanwhile, Corey Davis says 69%. that he's picked by then. Marvin Jones comes after that at 84%. Now, Marvin Jones, being this is a PPR league, it hurts him a lot. In standard, I have Marvin Jones, I think, as my number 23 receiver, but he drops to 28 in PPR. Man, this is really tough. But I do need to go wide receiver because I can't afford to wait and be looking at Sterling Shepard as my wide receiver 2. I don't want that to happen. So I am going to take. I'm gonna take a chance here, and I'm going to go with Corey Davis.
Yes.
On the potential breakout here. Man. I know it's more risk than I necessarily would like. I just took him as the 27th or 28th wide receiver off the board. So it's not like I reached for him.
I was so nervous, man. You're sitting here talking about Jamison Crowder like you're going to take him. He's the number 1 wide receiver on my board.
This is why I should not have talked. But I mean,
baby.
If he was on your board, then you were going to take him anyway. So
you know what? You know what I'm going to do just to rub it in? I'm not going to take him with this pick. I'm going to take him with my next pick.
Oh man, I want to
take him.
I want to call you some non-friendly podcast names right about now.
All right, man. I'm going to get to my picks here in just a second, but first I want to talk about the other sponsor of today's show, yourrules.com. Have you ever wished you could substitute players in fantasy football like a real football coach? For whatever reason you want, player injury, concussion, player ejected, player non-performance, whatever. Now you can in fantasy football on yourrules.com with their new in-game substitution feature. They've also got points for pass interference. You know that feeling, right? You're down 4 points. Your wide receiver goes up for a 30-yard bomb in the end zone. He's going to catch it. You're going to win your game. And he gets just mauled. His team gets yards. They go up to the goal line. They're going to score. But you don't get any points even though you were going to win your game. Not on yourrules.com. They've got all kinds of things. So many customizable options. And I'm moving a few of my leagues over to yourrules.com to take advantage of some of these customizable options. You should check them out too. Take control and change your game today. Your rules, your settings, your team, your rules in fantasy sports your way. Change your game today. Check out yourrules.com. Visit them on Facebook to learn how to play the game by your rules. That's www.yourulz.com. And as I said, I'm going to wait on Jamison Crowder. So now I have to decide, do I want to get my second running back? And the pickings are kind of slim because Rashad Penny was just off the board. I'm not going to say the other guys that I want. I'll say them once Tags takes them or somebody else takes them. I'll be really dramatic about it too. Like I was really just bummed out about it. So what I'm going to do here, I like Mark. Tags isn't going to take Mark Ingram. I can say I like Mark Ingram. I really like when Mark Ingram comes back. Greg Olsen is there. I could go that way. I'm going to go Marvin Jones, though. He's sitting on the board still. He was a top 5 wide receiver last season. And I know he's hurt a little bit in full PPR, but like where he's being drafted as wide receiver right now, he's the 28th, 29th wide receiver off the board. He's not going to drop that much. You've got to be kidding me. So I'm going to take Marvin Jones. And if I get sniped here on Jamison Crowder by the computer, I am going to just absolutely lose it on the podcast.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
No way. No way. Are you kidding me? 18% chance. Did you hack into the software Tags? Are you cheating?
I'm going to plead the 5th on this one. Going to plead the 5th.
Oh, this is
awesome. Awesome.
One pick before me. Who is that? Is that Vanilla Wilt drafting ahead of me?
Vanilla Wilt.
Did the developers code Vanilla Wilt in here just to take my guy? Like if they hear me talking about it in the podcast, he gets taken right before me. This is garbage.
Man, that is so great. That is so great. Oh, man. Awesome.
Okay.
That is like pure karma. Pure karma.
That's horrible.
That's awesome.
That is. I would have definitely taken Jamison Crowder over Marvin Jones had I thought that was even, 1 in 5 chance, a little bit less than that. And sometimes you lose. I'm still gonna win here, but sometimes you lose the battle.
Well, you definitely lost that one, so I'm extremely.
I lost that battle so hard.
I am extremely happy about this.
You should be, dude. That was funny.
Yeah,
that sucks.
Yes.
Okay, what am I gonna do here? Greg Olsen is so risky. I just can't do it. We talked about it, Tags. He's one of these players that drives you crazy. Like he's probably the best tight end on the board. Sure, Delaney Walker's safer. Greg Olsen could be awesome. I'm not doing that. So I gotta go. Mark Ingram. I already mentioned him. Maybe my other guy will drop to me. I don't think so. I think Tags is gonna take him. So I keep playing this game where it's like, man, maybe this guy will drop to me. and then it doesn't happen. I need to just take the best players available, but I'm not doing it. I'm going for the gold here. I want Mark Ingram and my guy. We'll see what happens.
Well, yeah. So adding Mark Ingram to Dalvin Cook. So I pulled up the cheat sheet while you were talking about your draft there, and so Dalvin Cook and Mark Ingram is a solid 1-2 punch. But the thing is I think you may have lucked out in terms of Jamison Crowder coming up the board, because you would have had 5 wide receivers and 1 running back had you taken Crowder there. And I mean, granted, I was rooting for that. I really was. Like, once I realized you were going to take Crowder regardless, I was like, well, wait a minute. If he's taking Marvin Jones and he takes Crowder, he's going to have too many wide receivers. So,
no such thing in full PPR double flex, man.
Yeah, you're probably right in that aspect. But yeah, no. So now we're down to the point in the draft where I feel better than where I was, because like I've got my 2 wide receivers. I'm not happy about Corey Davis as my wide receiver 2. I feel like if you draft him, he should be your 3. But looking at the board and who's available here, the running backs, there's a few running backs on the board that I'm trying to decide between. So Deion Lewis is there, Alex Collins is there, and Lamar Miller is there. So I'm going to talk through this with you. So Lamar Miller, I think that Lamar Miller's role is safe for the first 6 weeks, because I think Deontay Foreman starts on the PUP list, and Lamar Miller, with when he played with Deshaun Watson last year, he played a lot better. He scored a lot more fantasy points. So I feel okay with Lamar Miller, especially as a flex. Alex Collins, there's always the risk of Kenneth Dixon, although I do think that Collins, it's his job. They started using him more in the receiving game as the year went on. There's still, I'm not going to pretend there's not risk there, though. And then Deion Lewis, as we mentioned, it seems like Derrick Henry is going to be heavily involved. Like, it's not, I didn't think he'd ever go away, but I was kind of hoping that he would fall, I don't know, back into like a 8 to 12 touch role. But it sounds to me like and their defense has gotten better, so where they should be able to run the ball a little bit more. So I'm really concerned a lot of running backs in this range. And I feel like taking Devontae Parker over one of these running backs would be a mistake, just because I might be able to get Parker next round. So, man, this is tough.
I think it's the opposite, man. I think if you don't take Parker now, he's gone. If you do take one of these running backs, but if you take, Devontae Parker, I think one of the running backs will still be
so
there.
Collins, there's a 75% chance that he's taken. The other running backs, there's a possibility. It does say Devontae Parker. It says there's an 81% chance he's drafted before my next pick. And I might be looking at like Sterling Shepard as my wide receiver 3, which is, it's not ideal. Let's just, I think that's the theme of the show, is just not ideal. So man, this is so tough. And I do have my 2 running back spots filled. So I don't know, Bobby, you're making a really good point here, but,
I am a great point.
This is tough.
I'm trying to help you, man. You need help, so I'm trying to help you.
I don't believe you're trying.
Like, if Vanilla Wilt was on this podcast, I would not give him any advice. I would just dread him sniping my guy every time. But since it's you, Tags, I'm giving you some help.
Is tough. This is really tough.
He just ignores it.
I'm totally not listening to you, because I know that you're not trying to help me. Man, Bobby's got me all confused. Like, he doesn't have a pick between mine, so I know he's not going to take Parker. Man.
I'll say this. The guy I want, you haven't even mentioned. Like, I've had a hard time listening because I'm just so excited that you're not mentioning my guy right now.
That's all right. It might be Pierre Garçon, but he's behind Parker for me. Man,
I need a 7th wide receiver.
You made a good point. So this pick predictor is the reason I like it. So the pick predictor goes by ADP. So if you're in a real draft and you have Draft Wizard, you're using this, you could look at this and say, okay, according to ADP, the chances that this player is there for my next pick or this one, that's what helps me narrow it down sometimes. And being it's a full PPR, wide receivers are typically the way you should lean. Oh, God.
I'm going to remind you this. Jamison Crowder had an 18% chance of being gone, and he is not on my roster right now. So be careful.
Well, man, I'm so torn on this. I'm going to go with Devontae Parker. And Bobby,
good choice.
Bobby did kind of help me do this. VBD says I should take Deion Lewis, but again, I have more concerns than I should have, and there's a better chance that Deion Lewis or Lamar Miller is there than Devontae Parker. So I'm going to go with Parker.
All right, let's see what happens here.
Whew. Deion Lewis is still there.
Wow, I didn't realize you had that many picks between your pick. Oh, man.
There was a lot.
I feel bad. I was giving you bad advice. You got lucky.
And just to be clear on this, Jay Ajayi was still on the board, and I didn't even consider him with those guys. Just so you guys know, like I really mean it when I say that I don't own any Jay Ajayi. He's too expensive for my taste. If he falls to like the 26th running back off the board, that's where I'll take him. But outside that, I'm staying away. But yeah, Deion Lewis is there, so I feel the need to pull the trigger there. I feel like at that point, he's good value.
Got your guy. All right. Now let's see if I get my guy. I've been so nervous this entire time. Yes.
Well, you didn't want Jimmy Graham because he just went off the board.
Oh, of course.
I know
not.
you did.
I know. Take Jimmy Graham in the 11th round.
I know.
So we are in the 7th round here. I've got 2 running backs, 4 wide receivers. I'd like to get another running back. And my boy, Royce Freeman, the last, I won't call him a workhorse, but he is like the guy getting the lion's share of the carries there. At least I believe so. So I'm going to take Royce Freeman here. I was really thinking that Tags was going to take him. And when he wasn't talking about him, I was so pumped. So, all right. Now I don't even know what I'm going to do after that. I was just doing everything in me, like in my body, crossing my toes and everything to try to get Royce Freeman, and it worked out. I should have done that with Jamison Crowder. I'm regretting it. Okay. Oh, I know exactly where I need to go here. Kyle Rudolph, 95% chance he's taken by the time I'm gone. I need a tight end bad after Kyle Rudolph. It doesn't quite get ugly. I like Jordan Reed. I like Trey Burton, but they're probably both going to be gone by the time I pick too. So I'm not even considering anyone else. Cam Newton on the board, Carson Wentz, Chris Thompson, Sterling Shepard. No to all those guys with Kyle Rudolph and needing a tight end.
Yeah, for sure. And so, by the way, guys, so I've been clicking back and forth, and if you guys can see this on YouTube, I've been clicking back and forth between my draft board because where Bobby's picking at the 10 spot, the one thing you need to pay attention to. So if Bobby's here and he's coming on the 7th round pick and he's got 7-10 and then he's got 8-2 or 8-3. You have to look at the teams ahead of you and basically see what they're lacking. You look at their draft board, you could see that team 11 had Aaron Rodgers, team 12 didn't have a quarterback. So it's possible that one quarterback comes off the board in that time. Okay, if you're okay with 2 quarterbacks, you don't take one. You look, do they have tight ends? If they have tight ends, he can wait on a tight end. He could have waited on Kyle Rudolph. Now with this particular pick, he may have been okay with Greg Olsen, Delaney Walker, or Kyle Rudolph. And lucky for him, 2 tight ends did go, but he was able to get Kyle Rudolph, on the way back. So
I would have so much rather had Delaney Walker or Greg Olsen.
Yeah, and that's the thing is so if you were to flip it and but you didn't think that Freeman would fall and you didn't want to take the chance that he didn't fall because your lack of running back help. So yeah, the reason the Freeman pick is the one that it's I like Freeman a lot, but he's my number 26 or 27 running back in PPR. Because I don't think he's like a big monster in the passing game. It's kind of like a Jordan Howard type thing, where Devontae Booker's still going to be involved there, maybe D'Angelo Henderson. So that's my concern with him. But having him as your 3rd running back isn't a bad thing.
I'm saying it right now. Actually, no, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to encourage you. I'll say it after you pick.
All right. Oh man. So basically on this show we've talked about quarterback, and I believe that there's such a thing as waiting too long, that people wait sometimes too long. And quarterbacks have come off the board. There have been 6 quarterbacks that have come off the board, and Cam Newton has not been one of them. If he's there for me in the 8th round, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to pull the trigger on Cam Newton because he's my number 3 quarterback. So, I mean,
you sure you want to do that?
I'm pretty sure I do. Yeah, because he's better than any question mark I have on the board. And if I miss on one of the guys that are next on my cheat sheet that I'm looking at, I'm okay because there's another tier. Basically, he's the top of his tier. He's an elite player at his position, and that just doesn't happen in the 8th round. So I'm going to go Cam Newton here. It says by far he's the best VBD player. So
it's not even close.
Yeah. So this
is what I was going to say. I was going to say Tags is going to win this mock draft with this pick because Cam Newton, compared to what is left, in terms of VBD and how that's going to affect the Draft Wizard rankings, Tags is going to crush it now. I think Tags is probably going to get a 96, 97. I'm going to be in the low 90s. Man,
and you had Bobby sitting there telling me, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Like he's trying to talk me out of it again.
I was definitely trying to do that.
I'm really happy you did with Parker.
I thought maybe I'd be able to talk you into waiting one more round and then he gets taken.
I'm really happy that you did with Parker though. Because the thing is Parker, he wouldn't have made it, but Deion Lewis did.
That was real help.
It was real help. But by the way, after I picked Newton, there were 3 more quarterbacks that went in between me and my next pick. So yeah, he definitely wouldn't have been there. This pick is really tough because we're now getting to the point with the wide receivers where honestly, it's a bunch of guys that have some upside that are going to be there on my rankings where I don't feel the need to reach for them. Even though I'm not strong at wide receiver, I feel running back is getting pretty thin. It's starting to lose some of the top end appeal. But Jordan Reed's still there. Jordan Reed is my number 6 tight end right now. I mean, granted,
You're having a great draft, man.
I don't think that I would draft Jordan Reed as my number 6 tight end, but ranking wise, that's where I have him. I'm coming around on the idea. I want to see him play in the preseason a little bit and go that route. But I'm not going to invest in another tight end because tight ends typically you don't want to play them in the flex. Jordan Reed.
Oh, I forgot you have a tight end because you took Zach Ertz from me.
I did take Zach Ertz. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to take someone, when you're looking for a running back who has breakout potential, you want one that can catch passes. And the guy Kerryon Johnson that was drafted in the second round to the Lions has just that. He's one of the better all-around running backs from the draft. And he's going to be involved in somewhat of a timeshare. Yeah, I do believe that. However, the Lions' offensive line has gotten a lot better. I kind of went through that, and I ranked them as a top 10 offensive line heading into 2018 with what they've done. Frank Ragnow, It was one of my favorite offensive linemen in this draft. I think he's severely underrated. And Kerryon Johnson, again, if you're looking for that upside, Kerryon Johnson as a pass catcher, he has it. So I'm hoping that they trade or cut Amir Abdullah, just because if they cut Blunt, Amir Abdullah is more of a threat than LeGarrette Blunt is.
Yeah. All right, man. So you got Jordan Reed.
I did not.
Let's see. Oh,
Jordan
I'm sorry.
Reed
you got Kerryon Johnson. I was looking at it. Jordan Reed was taken right before me. So was Mike Williams.
Oh.
That's a player that I would have liked to get there. That's a bummer. I just keep getting sniped here.
Yeah.
So let's see what I'm going to do here. Josh Doxson's the top wide receiver on the board in terms of ECR, and I like Doxson more than his ECR, so I'm almost certainly going that way. Jamal Williams is still there. Marlon Mack. I'll take whichever one of those is left over, and I'm going to take Josh Doxson right now as my number 5 wide receiver.
That's fair. I got no issues with that. As a number 5 wide receiver, like he's basically either your second flex or he's a bench receiver.
He's an upside guy. I'm probably going to put him on the bench and see just how good he is, and if not, who cares?
Who would you rather have, Mike Williams or Josh Doxson?
Really close. That's a good question, man.
Yeah.
I don't have my rankings in front of me right now, but I would guess I have Doxson 2 or 3 spots higher.
I have Mike Williams, I think, a couple spots higher, but it's really close. Like, and they're both in that same conversation. I just think that Williams, I don't know. I think he's a better red zone. Like, I think he's got a clearer path to red zone targets than Josh Doxson does.
Oh, I don't think so.
Well, you think Jordan Reed, Jamison Crowder,
the red zone guy? Oh,
Paul Richardson?
Jordan Reed. Crap. I always forget about Jordan Reed because he's like, he
wasn't playing last year, and that's why Josh Doxson got a lot of red zone targets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I might need to change my mind on that. I like them both a lot. Yeah. So let's see. Jamal Williams is still there. Marlon Mack is taken. So my decision is made for me. Jamal Williams is the starter in a great offense. I don't know how long it lasts, but he's at least got a chance to be really good.
Yeah. That's fair. And he might, he's going to start the first 2 weeks while you have Mark Ingram on suspension. He's suspended for the first 4 weeks, but
didn't even think about that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's a good combo to have. And damn, Tariq Cohen just went off the board. I felt like him falling, Tariq Cohen falling as far as he did. I actually would have taken Cohen over Jamal Williams just because I feel like he's got a floor to him. Like I think it's like Darren Sproles type production in a PPR format. I think Tariq Cohen, I wouldn't have any issue with someone telling me he's a top 30 running back in PPR leagues. I'd have no issue with it at all. So we get to me, and top running backs, Carlos Hyde, Rex Burkhead. I already have Sony Michel. Would I consider Burkhead? Actually, yeah, because I think they're both startable. Wide receiver is my weakest position by far. Like, I have an elite player at quarterback. I love my running backs. I have Devontae Adams, but behind him is Corey Davis and Devontae Parker. Two, I'd say question marks. Zach Ertz, a tight end. My flex spots have Deion Lewis and Kerryon Johnson. Kerryon's a question mark too, so I might need some proven production there, like somebody who's safe until I know Kerryon comes around, because it's not even a guarantee that he starts.
You could go Isaiah Crowell.
Oh, hold on a second. Is Isaiah Crowell even on my list? Oh, there he is. He's my number 58 running back. So
I'm doing it by ECR just because I can't really, I don't know the ECR off the top of my head probably as well as you do, and I want to be able to communicate that to our listeners because they're probably going to be using that. Mm-hmm. And so Isaiah Crowell, second best on ECR right now. Someone's going to take him this round, and I'm just going to laugh at him. Whichever computer guy it is. I have
like 20 running backs left on the board in front of him, including someone like Doug Martin. Seriously, I would draft Doug Martin.
I agree. Yeah.
But I'm going to play it safe here, actually, just because like of my lack of wide receivers, my second flex spot is not a guarantee. I'm going to take Burkhead. And I'm being completely honest with you guys. I have no issue starting Sony Michel and Rex Burkhead every week.
Agree.
Together.
I don't think that's bad, especially in a double flex league. In PPR at that.
Yeah, in PPR. That's what I'm saying. So in a standard league, probably not. You'd ideally not start Burkhead in a standard league unless it's a matchup where you know they're going like lean on the running backs a lot. But yeah, in PPR, I'm good with it.
When you hear me making those noises right before my pick comes up, you know exactly what just happened, right?
Well, it's not your pick. So
Well,
I'm
okay. I thought I just got double sniped. I had 2 guys that I wanted with my next 2 picks, and they both just got taken.
So if you guys are watching on the YouTube, this is like a thing. I can't say it out loud because Bobby.
I'm prowling. I'm ready.
So yeah, he definitely is prowling. So looking at Pick Predictor, both these guys would probably be there if I wanted them. But I'm not going to let this happen to me with Bobby, especially when I'm so weak at the wide receiver position. I would say with question marks, I'm going to add another question mark to increase my chances here. And I am going to reach just a little bit to make sure I get Geronimo Allison.
Where's Geronimo Allison? I don't see him. Oh, I see him. Yeah, I wouldn't have taken him this round.
But you might have taken him in the beginning of the 12th, though.
Yeah, I definitely might have. That's a good pick, man.
Yeah, I mean, I know I reached a little bit, but he's a player that, looking at my wide receiver list, I was kind of like, all right, I mean, I could play it safe. I could go upside, and I chose to go the upside route because I don't need a safe wide receiver. I need as many possible breakout candidates as possible, and I think Davis and Parker and Allison all fit that category. And there's more too. But knowing how high Bobby is on Geronimo Allison, because we both are, I felt the need to reach there a little bit.
That's a good pick, man. I'm jealous. I wish that he was on my team. I don't especially need another wide receiver right now. I might just take one more, and I think you probably know who that is, Tags. Let me ask you this, though, okay? Geronimo Allison, we've seen his ADP go from 190 since we started hyping him all the way up to 140. Just how high is it going to go, and how high is too high for you?
Yeah,
I think I'd take him around pick 100 if I had to.
It's a really good question, and I think you get to the point where it's like you start wondering, okay, at what point am I taking away the equity that I was getting by drafting him so late? And it was nice getting him late, but he was severely mispriced. So seeing him come up, as of right now, I want to say I have him ranked around the wide receiver 45, because I'm not going to pretend that there's no risk involved with Geronimo Allison. Like, I won't sit here and say that just draft him to your team, play him as your wide receiver 3, you're going to be fine. Because, I mean, if you were to come to me right now, like if Mike McCarthy goes, hey, Mike, Geronimo Allison's on the field in 2 wide receiver sets. He's starting. He's playing. Like, as long as he's healthy, he's on the field playing. I would draft him as a wide receiver 3. Yes, I absolutely would. However, there is always that chance. I think it's a small chance, but I think there's a chance that they sign someone like Des Bryant or Jeremy Maclin. I also think it's a chance that one of the second-year players or one of the rookies impresses somehow, some way that they get on the field. Like, I don't think it's happening, but I think it's a possibility. So I don't want to bake that into. Essentially, I don't want to draft a player at his ceiling. So Geronimo Allison, I'd probably say as high as wide receiver 45, but I don't think I want to go beyond that.
Okay. Well, I wanted Geronimo Allison, Aaron Jones, who was taken 1 pick before me. Can you believe Aaron Jones has dropped this far in ECR? He's like the number 47 running back right now. There's a chance he comes back and starts in Green Bay's offense after 2 weeks off.
Well,
so I would have liked to get him and Jamal Williams there.
No, you're right, though. So here's the thing. So you have Jamal Williams. I actually think that would have been a great pick on your part. But so Ty Montgomery and Aaron Jones went. But the reason, so I thought to myself, I'm like, man, Aaron Jones really screwed up. He left this giant window open for Jamal Williams. But truth be told, it may have been a blessing in disguise because he's going to get a big workload, right? And they're playing the Bears in week 1. The Bears have been a really good run defense the last couple of years, and they
Freeman's gone though.
But they retained Vic Fangio, and they obviously drafted Roquan Smith, who's better than Freeman. So like when you look at that, you're like, okay, the Bears is not a great matchup for them. It's a divisional game, usually lower scoring than people think. And then in week 2, they play the Vikings. So
this is really good for Aaron Jones. All right,
but you have Jamal Williams on your roster, so it's not good news for you. However, but Aaron Jones, I think, is a solid. If you can get him in the 11th round, absolutely every time.
Yeah. All right. The other guy that I wanted here was who was it? Oh, C.J. Anderson. C.J. Anderson is going to get plenty of touches. He's a very good running back. I would have liked to get him or Aaron Jones or Geronimo Allison or Jacksonville. I know it's kind of a reach for Jacksonville, but they were freaking ridiculous last year.
Don't do it, guys.
They scored over 200 points, and they had 4 touchdowns called back.
Don't do it.
This team, they're so much better than everyone else on DST. They're one of the best since the Bears way back in the day. You remember that team, man.
Yeah.
When they had Devin Hester scoring the DST touchdowns, and their defense was incredible.
Yeah, the defense, it was pretty good back then.
Yep. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. Actually, I don't even know because all my guys were taken.
Yeah.
Crud. I could go quarterback here, but the thing is, like, my favorite quarterback left on the board is Alex Smith, all the way down at number 18. He's going to be there. He'll be there until the last round. Now, my draft wizard grade is going to be all screwed up because ECR hates him at 18. I've got Alex Smith as a top 10 quarterback, and it's not even really that close for me. He was so good last season. I think they let him loose here, let him throw a few more balls. So I'm going to go ahead and reach for my guys just to make sure that I get them. Keelan Cole. All right, can we talk about Keelan Cole for just a second, Tags?
Yeah,
you
for
know
sure.
that I love Keelan Cole, but let me tell you why, all right? There were 6 wide receivers last year who had any 4-game stretch with at least 440 receiving yards. That's a ton in 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's a small sample size, but only 6 guys did it, and here's the 6 guys. DeAndre Hopkins, wide receiver number 1. Antonio Brown, wide receiver number 2. Julio Jones, wide receiver number 3. Tyreek Hill, and Keenan Allen, wide receivers 4 and wide receiver 6. And then Keelan Cole, who, guess what? When he did it, it was his only time starting. He did it at the end of his rookie year, and he's being drafted as the wide receiver 70, guys. I don't think so. He's not slipping any further in my drafts. I'm taking him now.
So Keelan Cole, I'm really torn on. I have no issue with him as a late round pick. I don't, because I think that you stated the reasons why. But you know what's funny about this, Bobby, before I get into Keelan Cole, is that the same people that are dismissing Keelan Cole and be like, oh, Bobby, it's a 4-game sample size. Deshaun Watson was a 5-game sample size.
Yeah, come on.
So like the thing is like that's why I'm dismissing Deshaun Watson too. So it's not like I'm just like doing this to Keelan Cole. I think it was a small sample size. The reason I'm not completely sold is because Marquise Lee got a big contract, so they obviously view him as their top option. They signed him to a multi-year deal. They basically lost Allen Robinson. They were like, hey, we need to sign Lee. They brought in Dante Moncrief. They signed him to a 1-year contract for $10 million. So it wasn't a small amount. They overpaid for Dante Moncrief, but whatever. He's on the team. He's going to start. They have D.D. Westbrook, which whatever. You know, he didn't impress very much in his time last year. So Keelan Cole kind of came on. That's fine. But then you think they drafted DJ Chark in the 2nd round. I don't like Chark, but they obviously felt the need to go out and get a wide receiver in free agency, to re-sign Lee, and to draft a wide receiver in the 2nd round. 2nd round wide receivers aren't depth. Those guys are expected to start sooner rather than later. So it's like, in this equation, where is Keelan Cole? You know, you could say that DJ Chark they're preparing for him to start next year when they lose Moncrief, and then they're going to start Lee, Chark, and Keelan Cole in the slot. That's possible. But then D.D. Westbrook's out of the fold. It's just there's just too many questions in a run-first offense.
Yeah, there definitely are, but wide receiver 70.
Right. That's very late.
So, I'm not saying I'm drafting him in the top 20 or anything like that. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in the top 20. I mean, he was the number 2 fantasy receiver over those 4 weeks.
Yeah.
5 weeks, I'm sorry. So, I mean, I'm fond of this pick. I got to make my next one, though, and I'm going to have to reach again because there's just no one I especially like. Kenneth Dixon, I wouldn't mind getting him. Doug Martin, as Tags mentioned earlier. Chris Carson. I think these are all guys who could start, depending on what happens here. I could go defense and get one of the best guys on the board. The Vikings, Eagles, Chargers, Texans. Otherwise, I'm going to go streamer here. Chris Ivory, Jordan Wilkins. Chris Ivory, I mean, you want to talk about someone who could start. He might have to start. We'll see. Maybe they'll go out and get Alfred Morris, who I think would be a really good fit there. Alfred Morris, I think, is still a good running back. I'm not saying he's great or anything, but he's better than some of these starting running backs like Isaiah Crowell and then Jordan Wilkins, who might start as well. Those are guys I'm eyeing, but I'm going to go ahead and go the defense route and take the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, they have a disgustingly good unit. So I've already forfeited in week 10. I've got bye weeks on Dalvin Cook, Demaryius Thomas, Kyle Rudolph, Royce Freeman. Might as well do the Vikings as well. And whoever my week 10 opponent is, probably Vanilla Wilt, he will just stomp me.
So this is why Bobby added defense and kickers, because I have not done a single mock with a defense because I don't play with them.
I haven't either, man.
However, I'm going to stick to my guns here. I'm going to wait at defense. I'm not like, because I tell people like, don't use a pick. Like if you want to go like, you know, if you get the Jags like 2 rounds before the last, that's fine. But that's not going to happen because people start taking defenses. But yeah, every year there's turnover. I play the matchups. It's that simple with those because people aren't grabbing 2 or 3 defenses on their teams. So with this pick, it's pretty nice in terms of I'm able to grab some safety at wide receiver. Mohamed Sanu is still available. he was someone that I was going to take over Allison, but I was like, you know what? Sanu has been falling in so many drafts, and I don't really get it because I know people are talking about Ridley, but Sanu doesn't play the spot that Ridley does in the field. Like Ridley's going to play on the perimeter and kind of in place of Taylor Gabriel, whereas Mohamed Sanu plays the slot majority of the time, and it's a different matchup. So I don't think Sanu's going to completely fall off. And last year, when I come out with my article that's boom bust and everything in between, Mohamed Sanu posted more wide receiver 3 games than people think. Like he was a top 35 receiver in terms of that in PPR. So Sanu provides some safety along with all my upside wide receivers. Like, so if they're not performing, I could throw Sanu in there and at least have a floor. And by taking him there, I already know I'm going to get the next running back on my list because TJ Yeldon falls so much later than he should. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I would draft TJ Yeldon right alongside guys like Chris Thompson, right along guys like, who's some other third down running backs going in that territory? Giovanni Bernard. I think TJ Yeldon is just as good as those guys in terms of fantasy. And I think that he has more upside if something were to happen to Leonard Fournette. So I think TJ Yeldon is extremely undervalued. Like he's someone that I'm determined to raise his price as we near the season.
It's a good pick, man. I definitely like the TJ Yeldon pick. Now, Ben Roethlisberger's still on the board, and so is Matthew Stafford, Phillip Rivers. I mentioned Alex Smith earlier, but, here's the thing. Big Ben is awesome sometimes, and he's going to be awesome in the first 3 weeks. Cleveland, Kansas City Chiefs, who have a horrible defense now, and the Tampa Bay Bucks. Yeah, I'm going to take him, ride him out for those first 3 weeks, and then stream the rest of the season. So Big Ben is my pick. On the swing around, I'm going to take one of these running backs, whoever's left on the board, probably Chris Ivory or Jordan Wilkins.
Yeah, so so it's funny because you took Roethlisberger, and he was my number 8 quarterback. So he was actually ahead of Alex Smith, who I actually like too. I like Alex Smith more than most people do, but you don't have to draft him at all if you don't want to because he's not going to be drafted most standard 12-team leagues. But Alex Smith is like one of those value quarterbacks where it's like if you're panicking, and you don't love Alex Smith, you could take Alex Smith and Mitch Trubisky with your last 2 picks, and you'll be more than okay. I promise.
Yep, I definitely think that's all right. I'm going to take Chris Ivory here. I think Chris Ivory, it's hard to tell what's going to happen here, and I'm not saying that I believe one thing or I believe the other thing, but chances are Chris Ivory is going to be the starting running back at some point this season based on how the NFL's handled things in the past. So I'm going to take Chris Ivory here, and maybe I've got a nice flex play in this double flex league.
Yeah, the Bills should hit up the Lions and trade for Amir Abdullah. The thing is...
Oh, that would be so good.
The thing is, the Bills don't have a good offensive line anymore, which I want Abdullah to fall someplace where I view him as like a Jerick McKinnon type running back, where I don't think that they're traditional running backs. I think that they're ones that work well in space. They're a little too dancey behind the line of scrimmage. Yeah. And it's kind of like Marlon Mack is that same kind of running back where they're kind of all or nothing running backs. And While Abdullah was in Detroit, the offensive line didn't block necessarily well for him. So I want to see him go somewhere where they have a good offensive line. The Bills aren't that. But yeah, it's possible that Ivory does start. I just don't think Ivory's very good.
Yeah, I don't especially think he's very good either. He's a lot better than he was, though. Once he cut down weight, Chris Ivory was a substantially better running back.
Yeah, so what's funny about this is, Bobby, I'm coming out with an article. I think it's next week. I already did the research for it, and it's so basically it comes down to who scored more than they were expected to based on where they got their touches on the field, touches inside the 20, touches inside the 10, touches outside the red zone. Basically, It's this giant project that I took on, and I wanted to see who scored more than they were supposed to based on the touches they got and where they got them. LaShawn McCoy and Chris Ivory were the 2 absolute worst running backs inside the 5-yard line last year. The 2 worst in terms of the opportunity and what they scored on those touches. It's kind of funny that the Bills ended up with both of them.
So you're saying Josh Allen's going to get like 7 rushing touchdowns?
He could, man. He is actually a pretty athletic dude.
He's a big dude.
Yeah,
he's pretty fast.
For sure.
Even though he runs like Mose from The Office. Did you see that clip?
No, I did not, but that's pretty funny.
Oh, man, you got to go look at his combine of him running. It is so bad. He's fast, but he looks like Mose.
That's funny. That's funny.
All right, you've got 2 picks here, and then I've got 2 more to round up my bench. Then we'll just draft kickers. We don't even need to give analysis.
All right, so let's see. So this is where I get down to the pick predictor, and I know that a player that I was thinking about taking here, but I'm showing on my screen, I don't have to because he's probably not going to be drafted. So instead, I am going to go another upside pick here.
Who are you talking about? Ryan Grant? Are you talking about Ryan Grant? Is that who I have to take so that you don't get him?
No, because it's my pick. I have 2 picks before
Well, you're
yours.
saying he's going to last. If you pass on him, then Ryan Grant will be there for you. I hate to break it to you, but I'm going to take him if you don't.
I don't like this at all. Man, I'm torn because here's the reason I'm torn, guys. So with the way that the software works, it actually is going to grade our defense. This is why I hate the fact that defenses are in here, and I don't want to draft a defense. But the reason I want to do it is because I want to beat Bobby in this score. And so my VBD score on the Chargers shows me 84 because I have them as my number 3 defense. I think that they could be someone who could be the Jags of this year, where it's like, people were drafting. I was getting the Jags for free last year in best ball. Like I was getting them in the 19th round of my best ball drafts, and it was free. I think the Chargers could be that in your league this year, where you might not get them free, but outside the top 5 for sure. So I'm going to go with them just because I know what's happening here. I know that the predictor is going to hate me if I just wait and let's say I take the Bengals defense because they're playing the Colts or something. Like, I don't want to do that. So the wide receiver who I was going to take is still on the board. So I'm going to do that.
No.
And I'm not taking Ryan Grant, by the way. I'm going to take Anthony Miller here.
I knew you were going to do that. I was just messing with you anyway, so I'm not taking Ryan Grant right now.
But yeah, I got Anthony Miller. He was on the board there for me. And if for whatever reason there's a setback with Allen Robinson, I think Anthony Miller is the leading receiver for the Bears, and it's not really all that close.
Everything is terrible. Everything is so bad right now. Chris Carson, gone. Doug Martin, gone. Jordan Wilkins, gone. Spencer Ware taken right before me. Now I'm going to have to take Ryan Grant. You know what? I'm taking Chris Godwin and Ryan Grant.
Oh, man. Well, you got your 2 upside guys there, the ones you wanted.
Yeah, I don't know. Chris Godwin's an upside guy. I can't believe he's going wide receiver 75. That doesn't make any sense. I really wanted some running backs, and I could have gone Justin Jackson or Ryan, not Ryan, or John Kelly. I couldn't think of his name for a second. I could have gone with those guys, but Chris Godwin and Ryan Grant, I'm a big believer in both of them. So let's do that, and I don't know. I'm not even going to say who I want as kicker. Otherwise, I'm sure I'll get sniped again by Vanilla Wilt here.
Yeah, Ryan Grant was the one I was going to go with next. But now that he's gone, I can actually just take a kicker because the last pick, I know he's not on anybody's radar, but I'm just going to take him because I am. So I'm going to go with Gostkowski here as my kicker. I'm doing it. Bobby, you set this up, man. I did not. So don't blame me.
All right. I mean, you're going to win anyway because you got Cam Newton in the 20th round. It doesn't even matter.
Don't make excuses. We're in the same draft. You can't.
Okay, you want an excuse. Here's the real excuse. Here's the real reason that I lost. And we haven't even seen scores yet, but here's the real reason I lost. And Tags knows this. So earlier today, Tags and I were recording this podcast, and we had a little technical glitch. So we had to, redo a couple things. And while we were doing it, my office chair broke. And so I'm sitting here like trying not to lean too hard on my office chair because we're on video. And if my office chair breaks on video, well, it's going to go viral and Tags is going to make fun of me forever. So my back hurts really bad. I haven't even been able to pay attention or anything. Otherwise, I'd obviously have Jamison Crowder and all these other great guys. Cam Newton, I probably would have taken him. So now I got to go kicker here. I'm just going to go with the highest guy on the board, Matt Prater, because I think I might need help to get into the 90s. I think I'm going to be at like 91, 92 here.
So you can go ahead and try and pick him, but he's not going to be available for you because it's my pick, and there's still a couple picks in front of you. So I'm hoping that Matt Prater goes just because of what you've done this entire time.
Man.
I'm taking Albert Wilson with my last pick. And if you guys are paying attention, like if you guys can see my roster on the screen, you can see I kind of loaded my bench with some wide receivers who are set for targets. And so now I have Albert Wilson, Devontae Parker on the Dolphins. Obviously, it's not great to be heavily invested in the Dolphins, but there should be plenty of targets to go around. So having him at the bottom of my bench, not mad about.
Okay, I want to make this clear to everyone. Oh, hold on, let's see which kicker was taken. Oh, he's gone. Oh, well, who cares? I didn't really care about getting Matt Prater, but...
he was picked.
Okay, I want to be honest with you guys. If this was a real draft, I would not take a kicker here. Tags would not take a kicker here either, because we've got 7 weeks until football starts, right? There is a chance somebody is going to get hurt, out for the rest of the season. I want their backup running back just in case it happens. Mm-hmm. This time last year, I was drafting Kareem Hunt in this place instead of a kicker. Oh, man, it worked out really, really well for me. Worst case scenario, you pick up a kicker the day before the season starts. But until then, I want a backup running back. In this situation, I would go John Kelly, backup running back to Todd Gurley. He would be a workhorse in a very good offense. Otherwise, I would go Justin Jackson, backup to Melvin Gordon, who has toothpicks for legs. Justin Jackson is a very good rookie running back. If anything was to ever happen to Melvin Gordon, Justin Jackson could be a top 15 running back in the league. With that said, I want to get at least a 90, so I'm going to go ahead and take Dan Bailey.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's why I took a kicker. Like, seriously, I don't play in leagues with kickers anymore. Defenses, I have in a couple of them, but kickers, literally, I don't have a single league that has kickers.
Strength of schedule number 2. All right, Dan Bailey. Oh. Not that it matters for kickers, but okay, Tags, what'd you get? 97?
No, I did not. I got a bad grade. So I'm actually going to look at mine for my cheat sheet. Okay, my cheat sheet tells me I did a lot better than the other one.
So hold on. What's your cheat sheet tell you that you got?
My cheat sheet says I finished first, so it doesn't. So the cheat sheet doesn't give you a draft grade. The draft grade is based on the expert consensus. I got a B-. I got 81 out of 100.
How? You cheated. You cheated the entire time. So if you didn't cheat, you would have got like a 61. Is that what you're saying?
I guess. I mean, Bobby. By the way, according to my cheat sheet, like when I pulled that up, based on. You had the number 2 team.
Oh, well, that makes sense because we agree on a lot of things.
Yeah, definitely. I am so when you tweet at me and tell me that, why did I get a B-? I don't know why I got a B-. I'm not happy about it either, but
I know why you got a B- because you reached on Sony Michel. You didn't reach. You know what I'm saying.
Right, for sure. Like in terms of where he's being drafted and like his ECR and all that stuff, yeah.
Okay, so I got a 90. I was really hoping to get 100. Obviously, it wasn't in the cards. I'm looking at it right now. I'm number 3 in the league, number 1 in starters, so I'm cool with that. I don't know. Let's run down our teams here really quick, Tags. Who do you have?
All right, so Cam Newton is my quarterback. My running backs, Saquon Barkley, Deion Lewis, Sony Michel, Rex Burkhead, Kerryon Johnson. I like my running backs an awful lot. My wide receivers, this is where it gets a little iffy. So I have Devontae Adams, Corey Davis, Devontae Parker, Mohamed Sanu, Anthony Miller, Geronimo Allison, Albert Wilson, and my tight end. And my tight end is Zach Ertz. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's because I took a defense before the last round, like I said I was going to. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know.
Karma. Yeah, just like my Jamison Crowder one, Team 11 took him right before me. Man, that sucked. That was the worst part. I would have rather had Jamison Crowder and lose than not have Jamison Crowder and beat you. It's just kind of getting kind of old of winning. You know what I mean? Like I would rather have the guys that I like.
Oh man, what did it say on your cheat sheet? So have you pulled up? If you go to the projected standings,
I didn't upload my cheat sheet because I wanted to go based on ECR. Otherwise, I'm sure I would have got number 1 and you would have got number 2, right? I got a 90 on my grade. Here's my team. Big Ben's my quarterback. Dalvin Cook, Mark Ingram. I've got Royce Freeman. Those are my top 3 running backs. Jamal Williams, Chris Ivory. I'm not very deep on running back as much as usual. Yeah. I have a ton of good wide receivers though. Julio Jones, T.Y. Hilton, Demaryius Thomas, Marvin Jones. Then we go all the way down. Josh Doxson, Chris Godwin, Keelan Cole, Ryan Grant. I like this team, man. Tight end Kyle Rudolph. Who cares about the defense and the kicker?
Yeah, no, I'm so upset here. I'm gonna look at the reaches. I'm gonna see who it said I reached for. It says I didn't have any reaches. Every other team except for you didn't have a reach either. Neither of us reached 2+ rounds. Who did I? I didn't even reach 1+ round. You did on Josh Doxson. I didn't have a single player on my board that I reached more than 1 round for. That's insane.
Yeah, that's very good, man.
That's nuts. But I mean, like I said, so in the end, so when you tweet at us and say, "Hey, why didn't I get a good grade?" Know that I don't get good grades all the time either. Like obviously,
I always get good grades. Sorry,
Bobby
guys.
Bobby does. Like yeah, I've lost this battle, and I've totally said, Bobby, you are the mock draft master, and I've given up.
But then again, which one of us is doing the combine here in 9 days?
That's true,
me,
Bobby.
So, all right. Thanks to the sponsors of today's show, yourrules.com. You can go there and get all kinds of cool customizable options like points for pass interference yardage. You can do in-game substitutions. And thanks again to Leesa.com/fantasypros. You can get $160 off your mattress order, Leesa.com/fantasypros. For Mike Tagliere, I'm Bobby Sylvester. Thanks for listening and enjoy your football.